Well, since I learned that cedar tea is actually toxic if you consume more than 3 cups in a week, I decided not to make cedar tea. I'm going to stick with the pine needle tea. Okay, now I'm off to chase down an alligator. Now you don't want to just reach out and grab any alligator, okay? You want to gently pet the alligator. Unless it's an alligator maple tree, that is. Gotcha. Seriously, it's called an alligator maple because it resembles an alligator's skin. Okay, those are not maple leaves. Here's the maple leaves, okay? See the maple shape? See the difference? Maple. Real maple leaves. Not maple leaf. Maple leaf, maple leaves, maple leaf, maple leaves. Can you say it really fast? Maple leaf, maple leaves? No, these are not maple leaves. These are real maple leaves from the maple tree, see? Maple leaves offer more than just sweet, delicious syrup. The raw leaves, the young leaves, can be eaten raw or cooked. Citrusy. Okay, now I'm not going to peel off the bark just for a demonstration, but if you're in an emergency survival situation, the inner bark, known as cambium, is quite tasty too. Once again, from what I understand, this is an alligator maple, but researchers at the University of Rhode Island say that the red maple leaf extract may help slow down the process of skin aging. Hint, hint, wink, wink. Not saying you need that sort of thing. But have you seen my forehead lately? Maple sap combats chronic inflammation, liver disease, and has other potential health benefits. One thing I might add is that when you're not looking for something, or when you're not looking for a particular tree, they're everywhere. And then once you're trying to find one, man, all I see is every other tree. Does that happen to you, or is that just me? As always, it's just another day. Got the airplane circling around trying to figure out what's Camouflage Man doing now. Can you hear him? It's not a lawnmower. It's not a joke either. I'm being serious, y'all. Okay, so it looks like once again I'm going to need to crouch and somersault and be evasive, but I brought my handy dandy folding saw. I'm going to take a few branches of these leaves right here. I'm going to go back to my undisclosed location and start a fire. So I'm also going to gather up a few branches for firewood. And of course, you should already know the obvious. When you're gathering up firewood, you don't want it to be wet or dirty because that will diminish your fire. But other than that, it's pretty much easy to find. You just look on the ground and there you go. That's pretty dry. Nice piece of firewood right there. Pine cones, I would add, will also burn, or just grab a handful of pine needles. Dry pine needles, that is. But when you're reaching into the pile of pine needles, you want to be extra careful. You should wear gloves and watch out for copperhead snakes. Seriously. So as always, be careful, stay safe, and we're not at the end of the show yet, but God bless you. I know I'm really sorry I have to do this to you, tree. Nothing personal. I'm just going to use a few leaves. What was that? But some other things might be with us too occasionally. I'm gonna go. Time to make like a tree. That's a reference to the second installment of part 2. That means to leave. That's a fried maple leaf. Well, I didn't bring a compass with me, and it's around noontime, so when the sun is directly above you like this, it's kind of hard to tell by your shadow what time it is. I might have you stuck out in these trees for about an hour until I figure out what direction I'm going. Of course, spinning around doesn't help either. Of course, if you're running through the trees, you want to watch out for sharp thorns like these. They will grab a hold of you and say, "Hey, hello." Shh, I think they're following me. Of course, maple leaves hide beneath the canopies of the evergreens, but I believe if you look, that's one right up there. Okay, let's go get some maple leaves. Glad I brought plenty of pine needle tea. Yeah, extra piney. And as far as I understand, the only poisonous pine are the long leaf pine or the long needle pine. These are just average pine. No offense. There's one. Oh, it's got an owie. I'm sorry. Believe it or not, plants do have feelings. Certain scientists have connected electrodes to their roots, and when they cut out the leaves, it responded, showing pain receptors. So when you're walking on the grass, they actually feel that. And I'm not trying to torture this tree, but I'm going to grab a couple branches to show you how to fry some maple leaves. Watch your fingers. All right. Who's ready for some fried maple leaves? This guy. See a leaf? Okay. Now that I have some maple leaves gathered up, just grabbed a couple branches for this demonstration. Okay. So if you want to preserve your leaves, though, you want a good sized container like this that has a lockable lid. And you see I've already got gathered up inside it some lightly sprinkled salt to help preserve those. I'll show you that in a second. So basically what I do is I take each leaf cluster, you would call it, and grab it at the base of the cluster like that in one hand. Take the kitchen shears and cut it along the base. You don't want to cut the stem because those are bitter. I mean the branch, you don't want to cut the branch because the branch is bitter. You can include the stem. Gives you something to grab a hold of. Anyways, maple leaves. So these are some good examples right here. That should fry up nicely. So as I said, you just cut along the base of the stem of the leaf. And you can grab them in clusters and you throw them in your container. Easy peasy. And if you dropped your scissors along the way, you could possibly just pluck them off the tree like that, you know. You don't even have to really cut the whole branch off like I did. You could leave the branch and just pluck the leaves off of the tree. That would probably be a lot more tree friendly. Although yanking out a handful of leaves is probably the equivalent of yanking out a handful of hair. Ow. So I prefer a haircut as to a hair yank, so I use scissors. I keep on clipping these leaves of maple. Maple leaves. Okay, so as you begin to fill your container with the leaves, you want to sprinkle some salt on them. Salt has been used for a long time as a natural preservative, and we should be salt of the earth to preserve God's word. So anyways, as you add a light layer of leaves, you also sprinkle a light layer of salt. Doesn't have to be a whole lot. Pretty simple. As you can see, there's still plenty of room in here for more maple leaves because they lay flat, and as you sprinkle salt on them, it causes them to settle even more. So you got quite a bit to work with. But anyways, once you fill your container up to however much you want to stockpile and store for the winter, hint, hint, wink, wink, you want to pick them while they're fresh during the months of, during the months of May, June, and July. Right now it's the month of July. It's almost August, so I'm picking these before they begin to turn brown, where they have all the vitamins in them. Then you lightly preserve them with salt and put a lid on the container and bury it in the ground. And in 8 or 10 months from now, when it's about the time for Thanksgiving, wink, wink, hint, 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 wink, wink, you can make some fried maple leaves and surprise everybody. They'll be like, man, these are good. Okay.